Toyman52 is back with a new toy discussion, and it is about Galactus. Now, congratulations to Hasbro for getting Galactus back. Obviously, everyone knew he was back for like the past week or so, but here we are now. He's fully backed, and he actually got backed all the way up to 30K, which is the highest Haslab ever. And that's probably because, the UK is now involved, and that's great, boosted those numbers up. That was something that was probably big for Hasbro, I think, right? And probably got them definitely worried. Now, there's just a few things that I'm going to talk about now with the Galactus as a whole, like the set, right? Issues too. And there's a lot about it, and I'm going to be talking about all that stuff. So, and then I'll probably also say some suggestions, maybe for next year, things that can be done, differently, things that maybe they could do. So I'm going to go and now talk about all of that. So Galactus has now been fully funded at 22K, and he's got 3 action figures with him, one being a whole new figure that's really released for this set, a very unique figure, Morg. I've had my whole conversation about him. And then they had the worst thing ever, the Dr. Doomhead. That was just bad. Now, guys like me, it's like, oh, you bastard. But, that was probably the worst idea that they ever did come up with. And it's kind of like, why not just do what was predicted? I mean, I get it, you guys don't want to be predictable, but like, really, an unmasked head would have been far more better. Because no one was like, I recognize that Dr. Doom head. Everyone thought it was a joke at first. I thought it was a joke at first. I was like, that's Photoshop, dude. Like, they just painted the old Dr. Doom head. But then I saw the post from actually Hasbro. So I was very surprised that's what it was. And I haven't been able to post a video about it till now after it's been funded. But yeah, I just thought that was the absolute joke of the pack. That's a downer for sure. Now, Galactus did get to 30,000. It didn't even really matter with all that stuff, right? Like, it just, hey, they definitely had enough backers for the whole thing, and that's great. The Hasbro, the Marvel Legends fans, it's really have grown. And then obviously a lot of people bought extra for reselling, and some have kind of figured that out a little bit, and they also wanted to get trade bait. So yeah, Galactus was up, and the things that came with him though overall were pretty good, but they just had lacklusters in there though. You had the Silver Surfer and his pins in the body. It was pointless, really, in my opinion. I think that was a pointless one. Dr. Doom, even a bigger pointless thing, in my opinion. It's just really like, why? Why? No, seriously, why? You have all this with Galactus, and it is pretty nice that what we got overall. I think it is an okay overall. Like, Galactus really is the pull-in, and Morg was really like nice, and then Nova, of course, too. The thing that kind of was weird about this whole campaign, though, was that the fans were really holding out this time. And, I understand why, it was bigger number, but the amount that really showed up at the end, it was like, where were you all, if you really wanted it back so much, where were you? but in this way, I think it kind of worked. But it also kind of did good and bad things, for the collectors. And then, and by good, I mean, I think Morg was supposed to actually be tier 4. But I think Hasbro got so worried that they weren't going to get to that number, they switched tier 4 and 3, which 3 would have been the Dr. Doom head. And I think that's why they weren't really showing any shadows or anything like that. Obviously, they wanted to keep it a complete mystery what it was. But I think it was also kind of like, well, who are we going to show first, and who do we want to get unlocked first? And I think they looked at it and said, Morg is the thing we need to do, really, compared to the Doctor Doom head. Like, if they said, hey, we're getting this Doctor Doom head and we got that somehow unlocked, and then, obviously we would have, but then, in theory here, Hasbro didn't know if that was actually going to happen, so they wanted to make sure Morg did go out first, and then maybe the Doctor Doom head, and I do, like, appreciate that from Hasbro. Like, I think that's something that they did do right. And if you look at the images, like, from how they showed him, you could tell that Dr. Doom head was further advanced than Morg, so I really do think that was something the fans did change because they were holding out. But this is another thing I think that kind of hurt the fans too at the same time because they held out, is that now that we are way past the 22K, we're at 30K, and Hasbro last year with Sentinel, when they were surpassed like 3,000 after they did tier 3, they included the tentacle, right? And then after that, they're like, okay, we really need to have an actual tier 4. But they did give us that extra tentacle, right? They gave us something extra. And, I mean, I don't think that it's off the table. But, back then, Sentinel was still funding, and they were able to kind of keep playing with what comes with it. Now that Galactus is over, and we are 8K past it, and definitely should get something, doesn't mean we will, and I don't say we should, but, something like that happened, you think Hasbro would have done something, because so many people are like, oh, well, hey, we did all that, you guys made this amount of money, now what, they're like 12 million in total from what they've made with Galactus, which is like a lot more. Yeah, there's something I think they could do, and I don't think they would give us anything actually extra, but would be nice though is if they just updated Silver Surfer to just being pinless, fix the arms and legs and leave it at that. Give us the Surfer that everyone actually wanted. And Silver Surfer's been like re-released like 3 times already, twice in his like traditional silver color, and yeah, I think that would be something that would have been cool to see Hasbro like thank the fans by, since they had so much extra, they could do it. Now, like, when Sentinel ended, he was like, they got everything at like what, 16,000, and then they ended at like 21 or 22, and everyone was like, oh, you guys didn't give us anything extra, and then they were like, nope. Everything was cut off, so they didn't really have to. Everyone was willing to buy that amount at whatever, so there's no incentive to Hasbro to just do anything for us at this point. It's extra money for them. Obviously though, like, it is a much bigger amount though, but we'll see if they do decide to do anything for the fans, but I kind of doubt it. I not that they absolutely wouldn't, but I think that's something that really did hurt us fans in the end though, is that there was really no like extra time to play with the idea with Hasbro to add more things to it, because that's what we had last year. Everyone had time to suggest to Hasbro, hey, this is what we want, this is what we also want, interviews were going on, I remember, and they said, well, we're gonna think about it, and then they came up with a very, very plain, quick digital format with including that tier 4, right? But that's because everything was passed so quick. Here it's like, well, they did not plan anything. I mean, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. That's why I kind of suggested Surfer, because I'm like, if they didn't, that would just be a simple replace some parts of the figure. You keep the feet, keep the torso and head, but you know, even hands, but just get rid of those, you know, the arms and the knee parts, you know, and make it pinless. I think that would have been something that they could do, but I mean, it's Hasbro, so we'll see. Now, this is kind of like one thing I wanted to just add a little extra, like something kind of like, what if Hasbro did this instead, you know? And this is kind of mostly for fans that couldn't buy Galactus this year. And I just kind of thought about some of the people that were commenting, like, because, you know, you guys know I got a few. I'm not lying to people. I mean, I'm not trying to discourage. I ain't trying to encourage. But, you know, I did get a few Galactuses myself. And I really kind of thought how it kind of sucks that how some fans really couldn't afford it. Pandemic was going on, you know, still going on. And they just couldn't, you know. Family comes first, things like that, and some people don't actually have the extra funds. So, you know, I mentioned in one of my earlier videos about this, and I was like, why don't they just reveal everything? Just tell everyone what it is. And it's very obvious why they did it, because Doom was terrible, and then the Surfer's just kind of a lackluster as well. And then you had two, like, pretty good figures, and then Galactus. But the reason why they really wouldn't want to reveal it is because, you know, it makes look parts of the figure bad. Like, Doom definitely kind of brought down the set total. It really didn't really make too much sense. I mean, but that's what they did. So I kind of thought of this thing that would be kind of cool to do instead. And I mean, obviously, this is kind of like a very far-fetched idea, but I really thought of this because there's other fans out there that really couldn't get Galactus, and they just wanted Galactus. They didn't want everything, all the extras, but it's kind of like meh, right? I think that they could have treated this somewhat more better as a kind of like how video games go about some of their releases. Like, you get that standard edition and then that deluxe edition. And I think it would have been actually kind of cool to see them release Galactus, or, well, let's just say, for example, Galactus with everything, right? And saying, hey, this is $400, and this is going to be like crazy. And hey, this will all get backed once we reach a certain number, right? Let's say 16,000. And now I know everyone's like, 16,000, that's crazy. Well, I actually kind of thought, like, what if this would open up the door where people could unlock a singular Galactus just by himself, nothing with him, no extra figures, no extra faceplates, no Dr. Doom head, and then it would be like $300. And this would be another way Hasbro could have made more money and also save money at the same time. And the reason why I say that is because if you think about how much room the Galactus would take with all that other stuff, think about how much space they would save with just the Galactus alone. I mean, obviously it's going to be still the same height, but it'd be a much more smaller box, at least thinner, right? And you could see that they would have a lighter weight, can pack more in shipping containers. Overall, I think that would have just made it kind of a cool way to make sure that everyone who just really wanted Galactus, and if they did get to a certain point, they could sell Galactus by himself and cheaper. And I get it. That's so crazy. But this is just me saying something for the fans that really couldn't afford Galactus this year. But yeah, that's it. Galactus is done and over with. You know, we'll see what happens in the future. We'll see if they do give us anything. But I mean, hey, I don't think they would, since it's all said and done. I do hope you guys enjoyed this video though. And hey, get ready, because Sentinel is coming, so please don't forget to like and subscribe. I will be posting my review on many of my Sentinels that I ordered. But I will be only opening up 5 and then showing them all compared, and I'll probably be doing that review right over here, and that's going to be something really cool to check out. And I'm sure you guys probably already have your own Sentinels, but you know, some of you who don't, you can decide if eBay is really the place to go, and I will let you know here when you come back. So I will see you all later, and please, again, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll be back.